Ki te tai toke rau e inu ana I te wai o tau marere. Ngāti manu ki ngāti hine whakawhiti atu ki ngā ringa. O hine takurua e kia auraki matatu e. Heke I hora ki ka tiritiri o te moana. Tau ana ra ki o te poti e. Kia ora, e te whānau koe tēnei heuri tēnei no kaitahu whānui no ngā pui nui tonu hoki. Oh my gosh, kia ora, my name is Georgia. When I was born, my parents had already separated, but remain friends to this day. My mum says she raised me with the village. I have lots of nannies and koro, I have overprotective aunties and uncles, and heaps of cousins. Because my parents have new partners, I have now got 9 siblings. My village also includes my kohanga and kura kaupapa. I've been raised with te reo Māori as my first language, and when I was 4, my mum took up a job as a hauora Māori lecturer at the University of Otago. So I have had so many great Māori role models to help raise me too. My mum's mum was also a single mum, and I think because the last 2 generations have been so determined and hardworking, recognising that as wahine we can do anything we set our minds to, I've taken for granted that I can too. So, when I was 12 years old, I needed to fundraise to get to a wānanga in Marata. I fundraised by making poi and made just over $1,000 in 3 days advertising to whānau and friends on Mum's Facebook page. I realised that this kaupapa not only has the potential to be a business, but it also has the potential to give back to my people. So I started a business called Pōtiki Poi. This business name represents my ancestor from my mum's side, Tahu Pōtiki, and it also acknowledges my baby brother Api. Pōtiki translates to youngest child in Pākehā. Api arrived 4 months before I started my Pākehi. The day he arrived, we found out he was born with trisomy 21, also known as Down syndrome. As my business has grown in the last 2 years, so has Api. And so has our understanding of diverse abilities. As a whānau, we refuse to use the word disability. This has so many negative hononga, and there is nothing negative about my brother Api. He does not need to be labelled someone with Down syndrome. Yes, he was born with the extra chromosome and lots of extra characteristics, but the label Down syndrome does not sum up the value he brings to this world as a person. He has inspired me to think about the kaupapa and ethos of my business. Not only do I want Pōtiki Poi to promote all things Māori and to revitalise our lost taonga, I also want to make as many of our products eco-friendly. Oh, yes, eco-friendly. And I want to employ people with diverse abilities. So now I do. We op-shop our wool and fabric and only use true biodegradable plastic. We work closely with our local diverse ability community and have about 10 members in Pōtiki Poi manufacturing process. I now have over 40 shops selling poi here in Aotearoa, Australia and Japan. We make kapahaka sets for early childhood centres, koro and workplaces. Recently we had just done an order for 300 pairs of poi. That is 600 individual poi. And I also have a Shopify website that people from all over the world buy Pōtiki Poi from on a daily. A wee plug for one of the key sponsors who made it possible for me and my whānau to attend today is To Zero. All of our invoices, accounts, etc. are done with the ease of using their software, ngā mihi. I manage all of our social media promotions on Pukamata, Facebook, Pai Ahua Instagram at Pōtiki Poi, and have become very familiar with TV, radio and interviews with newspapers, etc. As more and more people began to ask me about how to use poi, I came up with a 1-hour Art of Poi Workshop, sharing my knowledge of the whakapapa and anatomy of poi that has been gifted to me through my kuia, my whae, and by doing some rangahau. We have created a workshop to use in kura, early childhood centres, and community rōpū all over the motu. Often, people would expect me to teach them how to use poi, but when they leave the workshops, they always say, wow, I really didn't know anything about poi. Everything sounds good, right? Great business growth, flying all over the motu, sharing and gathering mātauranga and selling thousands of poi all over the world. And then along came COVID. I had to pause our production line, stop travelling, and like a lot of people, I re-looked at how my Pākehī could evolve. I also had to put a COVID QR code on the front door of my workshop. So, Mum and I decided while we were working from home, we should write a book of the whakapapa of poi. I've noticed the lack of knowledge and revitalisation around this kaupapa, so we thought we needed to make it happen. It hasn't made the shelves yet, but it is in the very early stages of the printing process. I thought today would be a great opportunity to let you guys have a sneak peek at my puka. It is not the whole book, and I'm only showing you some of the pictures so that I don't spoil it for you when you buy the hard copy. But here it goes. Let me read it to you. In the beginning, there was nothing. We called this te kore. From te kore came Ranginui and Papatuanuku. Together they had 6 tamariki. Tāwhiri mātea, the god of weather. Whenever I'm stuck in a downpour and the winds are beating my skin against my skin, I think, ngā mihi tāwhiri mātea. Rongo Mātāne, the god of crops. My baby brother loves to make a mess of his kai. He loves eating mum's kumara mash. Ngā mihi, Rongo Mātāne. Tūmatauenga, the god of war. The marae Ātea is the domain of Tūmatauenga. It is also an appropriate place to discuss issues. I am thankful we don't often have issues. Ngā mihi Tūmatauenga. Tangaroa, the god of the sea. Every summer I visit Tangaroa and hang out with friends and whānau. I love boogie boarding. Ngā mihi Tangaroa. Haumia Tiki, the god of crops and plants. My baby brother loves to reach out to the plants and help me with our marakai. He even tries to eat the leaves sometimes. Ngā mihi Haumia Tiki. Tāne Mahuta, the god of the forest. I think of nature and the children of Tāne Mahuta and how lucky I am to grow up alongside them. Ngā mihi Tāne Mahuta. It was Tāne Mahuta who took up the challenge and searched for partners for him to create a human being with. First, he came across Hine Wairiki. Together they had children called Kahika and Mātai. He then met Mumuhanga. Together they had a child named Tōtara. He then met Manganui. Together they had children called Tawa and Whine. But he still couldn't create a human. So Tāne Mahuta then met Punga. Together they had lots of children called Te Aitanga Pēpeke. Then he met Haere Awawa. Together they had a child called Waka. He then met Paranui. Together they had a child called Tui, but he still couldn't create a human. Eventually, Tāne Mahuta found Ka Karamea. He moulded the clay into a form of a woman, took the clay into his arms, pressed his nose against the clay. Suddenly, Hine Ahuone was created. She opened her eyes and sneezed. Tihei Maudiora. Tāne Mahuta loved all of his creations and went on to create the shining sun and the sparkling moon and stars above his father's head. Even though he had created so much already, he met more partners and had more tamariki. Eventually, he met Pākoti. Together they had a child called Harakeke. He then met Hinenui Te Pō. Together they had a child called Raupo. These children are the 2 beautiful plants that poi were first made from. Harakeke for the taura, Raupo mo te upoko. When I think about all the adventures Tāne Mahuta had and how he never gave up, I'm grateful to him, because if he hadn't kept going, I wouldn't be here and neither would my poi business. Ngā mihi Tāne Mahuta. So, there we go. Oh, and I forgot to tell you the title of my puka. It is called Ngā mihi. Did you gather that? Ka pai. When I say ngā mihi, I am truly so grateful. I'm grateful to my whānau. Right now, my nana langi, da siblings are at home doing the orders so I could be here with my mum and my nanny DJ. Guess what, guys? It's Nanny DJ's da whānau. So if you get a chance to see her, just say happy birthday. She'll love you guys. Okay, I also want to mihi to the backbone of my Pākehī, my mama, who holds my hand through this journey we are on. To my kuia, my gemi, who planted, oh my gosh, sorry guys, every time I get to this part I always cry, who planted seeds in me to grow into a young leader. Oh my gosh. It has been 2 years since she's passed away, and she saw the first, oh my gosh, why am I crying? She saw the first 4 couple months of Pōtiki Poi, and so moi mai rā taku kui. Okay, ka pai, I'm back. Ngā mihi to my kura, to my kohanga, to my hapu, my nannies, my aunties, my uncles, koroma, and to everyone who has contributed to making me who I am. My advice as a young 14-year-old CEO wahinepreneur would be to surround yourself with whānau who love you and be grateful you have them. Immerse yourself in culture. Find new ways to create a sustainable future for your whānau and all the diverse people around you. I've realised now that I'm only doing a small part in this bigger picture of regaining lost knowledge. We all need to make it happen. I'm the first generation fluent Māori speaker in my whānau since my tūpuna walked into our marama. We as tangata whenua hold the mana and the rights to regain our lost knowledge. Te reo and te tino rangatiratanga are keys to our identity. I know my moko puna and my moko whaiake will be proud and will continue to make a difference for our people as we feel our tūpuna, our ancestors and our pū manawa, and stand strong in the fact that they didn't leave wounds for us. Society, institutions, systems and structures have done that. It is up to us to reshape all of that, to set our eyes to the future, to plant seeds wherever we go. Even if you don't think you are anybody, just get on the waka of change and be grateful. Every one of us in this room has the ability to do something. Imagine if we take all of our little somethings, glue them together to make Aotearoa awesome. E hara taku toa I te toa takitahi, engari he toa takitini. I am not in this battle alone, I stand with my people. Kia ora.